whoever you are, wherever you are, hope you are blessed and doing safe. Ladies and gentlemen, greetings, family. Of course, I'm tuning in. You see me without the glasses off today, but if you're looking for some opportunities, particular advertisement opportunities, then look no further at the link at the bottom to my email address. You can hit me up for advertisement opportunities. We are supporting and promoting your businesses here on this channel. You can also, if you would like to donate and subscribe to our Patreon, a link is at the bottom as well. So you have multiple ways in which you can advertise with the platform by emailing me when we go on through our live stream. You also have access to premium content, those that want to see premium content that you will not find here on YouTube or Facebook or Twitter, as I am suspended probably by now. You guys can check out the Patreon at link at the bottom. But advertisement opportunities, definitely email me, gavin.grich1@gmail.com for rates. And for the Patreon, it is the same as the YouTube channel. It is channel gboot2786. All right, I'll holla. Peace. Gosh, I hated to sneeze on live webcast right now. That is not how I want to start the show. Y'all know how I start the show. Whoever you are, wherever you are, I hope you are blessed and doing safe. If you are tuning in right now, then you are listening to the hottest live stream on Tuesday nights on channel gboot2786, on Gavin Richard, my backup channel, and on Periscope at GavinRich2786. It is Random Topic Tuesdays. It is Gavin Richard Presents here. Right now, you're listening to. We have a lot that we're going to be getting into, including, if you saw the description, we will be talking about the governor of New York, Andrew Cuomo, and what's going on in New York in general. What is going on in New York in general, not just with Andrew Cuomo, but also the new mandate on the woo-woo vaccine, woo-woo back. I should say woo-woo vac. I'm careful with my words. And excuse me one second. We're going to be talking about what's going on in New York right now. That's one of the hottest topics going on. That's just from the governor and the mayor, with the latest announcements by the mayor in terms of the woo-woo shots. So I'm very careful. I got to be careful with my words. Also, we will be discussing. I want to thank everybody, number one, for my live stream that I did this past Sunday. I'm going to be talking about that a little bit more. And that was in regards to the murder of Enos Cosby. I'll be talking about that a little bit. Also, Queen Simone Biles returns to the Olympics. Simone Biles returns to the Olympics. She finished off the balance beams competition of the gymnastics. I think that's the final one for the gymnastics routine in the Olympics. And more to follow. I think we have a few other topics, and we're going to be joined by a special guest in a little bit. Shout out to everybody in the chat, including Danielle Mayer, and thank you, Pacing T, for the blessings. I appreciate it. I needed it. I was trying to mute my mic when it came on. Damn it. So yeah, but y'all can make fun of me later. All right, so y'all know how we do this. Of course, I normally will play my song. Got to get on up, but of course, I know that my record company will hit me with a copyright complaint, and I'll have to keep going back and forth with it. But you know what? I don't care. I'm going to play it, and I'll just take care of it later. They'll clear it up. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to get on up right here on channel gboot2786. Hit that like, share, and subscribe button. We are hot and heavy. We're going to get started in just a few moments. So you guys sit back, relax. It's going to be a good one. Girl, come on. Gotta dance to the beat. Cause on the dance floor is where we'll be. Show me what you got. Gotta feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on. Right now the party's wasted. There's not much to do. But once the groove gets started, tell me, what do you have to lose? Just look into my eyes, girl, as we glide across the room. And what to my surprise now, the beat takes hold of you. Now even if you feel like I'm feeling, so come on baby, let's start dealing. Time to get this party started. Ain't no time for the broken hearted. When the rhythm takes hold of you, there's only one thing left to do. Cause the beat is really moving. Time to feel your body moving. Gotta get on and move your body. Cause the beat is really moving. It's time to feel your body moving. Gotta get on and shake something. Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on. Tell the DJ play the whispers. Rock steady in the mood. Put on our wind and fire. Tonight we're gonna groove. Show me how you do the four corners. Electric slide or two. Hit the bus stop, or do the bunny hop, baby. It's really up to you. Now if you're feeling like I'm feeling, so come on baby, let's start dealing. Time to get this party started. Ain't no time for the broken hearted. When the rhythm takes hold of you, there's only one thing left to do. Cause the beat is moving. Time to get your body moving. Gotta get on and move your body. Cause when the beat is really grooving, it's time to feel your body moving. Gotta get on and shake something. Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on. Now 2020 hasn't been the best year of all times. We've been dealing with the death, the pandemic, racism, bad policing, and all the bad rhymes. But like Uncle Snoop once said, if you breathe, you achieving. So if you're ready, I need you all to get on up. Are you ready? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Get your butt on the dance floor. 5 and 6 and 7 and 8. This jam we appreciate. We're gonna slide and step on the beat. On the dance floor is where we'll feel the groove. Get on the floor. Get on and move your body. Cause when the beat is really moving, it's time to feel your body moving. Gotta get on and shake something. Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on, baby, gotta get on. Come on, baby, gotta get on. Baby, feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on. Oh, gotta get on up. What's up, everybody? Thank you, Versatile. Everybody loves the song. I would love if I could make money from it. I love it too. That's why I wrote it. You know what's interesting about that? I'm glad you all enjoy it. That's the kind of vibe, Danielle, I wanted to create with regards to Gotta Get On Up when me and my friend Sizzle. When we wrote that, I came up with the idea of a song that would be a throw callback to the 80s, especially to that a callback to band and groups like the Whispers, as well as Earth, Wind and Fire. Let's Groove Tonight. Rock Steady. There's also um sorry, I'm got people. I hear my folks in the back wondering what's going on. My people in the back. Yeah, but groups like the Whispers, the Earth, Wind and Fire, uh, you know, Babyface, just that retro sound, that retro 80s vibe that you had, which was a little bit before New Jack Swing started, but when those elements were coming in, when you have the electronic drum machine, like that drum, that drum machines, in the 80s, that's when all of that stuff started. So I enjoy making songs like that. I'm glad that everybody loves it. We try and get it more exposure. Obviously, when you have a song like that, to push it into, uh, I guess what you call pop culture or mainstream, it's not something that's easy. But you go out and you just all you can do is just promote the shit out of it. So that's why I play it on here. That's why I tell you, if you are interested too, you can buy it on. No, that is not what I was trying to click on as the topic. You can buy it on iTunes, Spotify, and Apple. Got to get on up. It's available there. And what's interesting too about that? Most songwriters, some of the top songwriters in the world, I was reading an article from BBC. I told you about this. They don't get a lot of money from their songs, believe it or not, because record companies are holding it in, holding the royalties far too long for a lot of these writers, to the point that some of the top songwriters are actually now working as Uber and Lyft drivers. Now, there's nothing wrong with it because even myself, I've done Uber and Lyft from time to time. Yeah, that is right, Lamiko. The Silver, Leon Silvers, he's the one that wrote, I believe, And the Beat Goes On, or he produced that. Dick Griffey was the guy who made Solar Records, which was, if I'm out in Los Angeles, I think he was real close with Don Cornelius, and he had a lot of his artists come on, the Soul Train and so forth. Yeah, that was very big. That was huge. Uh, Jimmy Jam, Terry Lewis, Babyface, shit, Babyface, L.A. Reid. They wrote some of the biggest hits. Kashif, yeah, and Kashif just died. Kashif died like 2 years ago. Yeah, I love Kashif. Love will make you so sad. We're gonna have to do an entire show, I think, dedicated to R&B music. I'm gonna see some of the best songwriters, some of the best songwriters of all time. Of course, we can talk about Smokey Robinson. You can talk about Stevie Wonder, Marvin Gaye, the Motown songwriters, the Corporation. Holland Dozier and Holland, uh, even Gamble and Huff. Now they weren't with Motown specifically, though they did have. I think I'm gonna make you love me, which was a song that Diana Ross and the Supremes and the Temptations did together, and that was a hit song back in the late '60s that they did, and that was the one song I think Gamble and Huff wrote that was on Motown's under the Motown sound. I enjoy that. I listen to that music. There's nothing wrong with listening to old school music. Curtis Mayfield was an outstanding songwriter. Oh, absolutely. He wrote the entire soundtrack for. Uh, I think the I know he wrote the entire soundtrack for "Let's Do It Again," the movie. He wrote that song, which was a hit for the Staple Singers. For Sparkle, he wrote and produced Aretha's album. He was a big time producer, songwriter. Donny Hathaway was a great one. There's a whole bunch of people you can throw out there, and some of them sadly are no longer here with us. But the good thing is that we have their records, we have the music that they contributed and shared with the world, and that will not be forgotten. And we can play that all the time, and their legacy is still here. And that's what we got to create for our children as a legacy. I one day, if I'm lucky and blessed enough to have a kid, that's the type of stuff I want to leave for my son or my daughter. Is something that where they can uh, have the ability to go out and build off something. And that's what we're talking about. That's why we want to support this channel. I can't stress that enough. You go to Patreon, support me through the super. I think the super chat should be set up now, if I'm not mistaken. I was working on it earlier. Uh, you can also contribute to the Cash App, Gavin Richard Esquire, Google Pay, PayPal, and Zelle. You see that there. If you like to advertise, just hit me an email as well. We do rates and so forth if you're trying to promote a product. Welcome again to Gavin Richard Presents, everybody. Now, I see you, brother. We're going to bring this brother on in a little bit, but first, let me introduce the topic for tonight. I want to talk about. Um, I just wrote this daggone thing. What's going on in New York? I guess we can start. Let's start with that. Um, I don't know if many of you have gotten the notification, but earlier today, the Attorney General out in New York released the details of his investigation into Governor Andrew Cuomo's sexual harassment, sexual assault allegations. And his conclusion was that the governor had indeed engaged in inappropriate behavior with various women. Now, Cuomo uh, is under, they say he's under criminal investigation and could face lawsuits. He has stated that and denied that this has happened. He actually has detailed information on his website. This is actually a New York. This is actually the New York Times. They have live updates on it, so it's fucked up when you get live updates on shit. So you're talking about a sentence. So this is big. Assembly Speaker says Cuomo no longer can remain in office. Biden calls on Cuomo to resign. Yeah, earlier Joe Biden did say that he should resign. Uh, I did get to see parts of his response to the allegations. He came on and did a 24-minute rebuttal to the Attorney General's allegations. And this is only one thing that's about New York I was going to talk about. You notice I didn't put it in the topic, but when we're talking about uh, the woo woo, something else is going on, which that is happening, which is that in Albany, the mayor of New York, De La Blasio, has issued a mandate, and you're basically going to have to show your papers if you want to eat in a restaurant, if you want to go exercise, if you want to go indoors, you're going to have to show your papers. And you know what that means. I got to speak in code, ladies and gentlemen, because I do not want to get this channel a second strike. So we'll talk about that in a minute. But let me bring on the guest, Brother Bernard Johnson, aka King BJ. Brother Bernard, what's going on, man?
How you doing, sir?
Good evening. How you doing, man? Just coming back from San Antonio, Texas, by the way.
Yeah, it was interesting. I met some good brothers. They even, matter of fact, they even talked about two of them talked about you when I was down there. So that was kind of interesting.
Oh wow. I'm glad.
Yeah,
Hopefully they were talking about me in a good.
they treated me real nice.
Well, that's good, man. San Antonio is a nice city. It's actually great food. it's large. You can much. There's a bunch of things you can do down there. How was it in terms of COVID and so forth? Everybody was masked up, or
No, they don't. They didn't have no mask mandates around there. But I tell you what, I went to Austin, Texas too. Saw a lot of homeless people under the
yeah,
bridge in Austin, Texas. But they said it was worse than that months ago. Uh, Rode through the country. Who had some land? I think he had some acres of land, and he was talking about investing in land ownership and stuff like that. It was very interesting. Very interesting time. Saw cattle and met some interesting people. It's interesting.
well,
Now
that's
I'll
good. I'm
say it
glad
was.
you had a good time.
Yeah,
I'm glad you have a
I've
good
had more
time.
time
Why
living
don't
in
you tell
Dallas, but I'm
everybody?
kind of glad that I got yesterday because if I because I was at the airport, I said, "What is this airport?" Then when I got the plane and I got it back home, I said, "Wow, that was going on." And this is crazy. And then you find out over the last 2 days, 1,300 flights have been canceled. Spirit Airlines, and guess what flight I was on? American Airlines. Isn't that something?
Yeah. So you, wow. Yeah, Spirit Airlines, they canceled all of their flights. I saw somebody posted that. So I guess they may have I don't know exactly what the reason. I think maybe a shortage.
A shortage,
Shortage.
but I do know when I left, I got on when I was at the airport at 4 o'clock in the morning. I saw lightning and stuff. They said that's what happened with Dallas. But I mean, they said that was gonna be over by 8 o'clock in there. So I don't know what was going on, but I do know that over the last 2 days you've had a lot of flight cancellations. And I did read an article last week that the flight attendants have been wanting the Biden DOJ to step in to help with unruly passengers. So I mean, I don't know, man. Maybe everything else short. Why not have a pilot shortage? Why not have a flight attendant shortage? You don't even know what they. It was crazy. But I
Wow.
saw a lot of people in blankets and stuff. And I take a picture of this, but I get my phone out fast enough. Because I said, what are they? Because I thought they were shipping people in from other countries, like Africans and Liberians and um, Asians or whatever. Like, and when I saw the sign on the billboard, it said the number one slave in the United States is human sex trafficking. But I didn't get my time to take a picture, but it was right on the billboard in the airport. Can't make this stuff up, man.
Yeah.
But otherwise, it was fine, and I'm glad to be back home because on here, I mean, so I'll even talk to you
Well,
about something
over 300.
that happened here. Well,
Well, let's get started. But what you're saying, American Airlines, they canceled about 300 flights, as well as
yeah,
a total of 347 flights were canceled. Half of Spirit's flights. So a lot of people were frustrated about that. But what we're talking about, obviously tonight, though, Bernard, I wanted to talk about this thing with Andrew Cuomo. Now, Cuomo, I'm sure you heard, he has the New York Attorney General's office released the details of their investigation and found that he had engaged in inappropriate behavior, obviously, or into sexual harassment. And oh, you might want to mute that. I got a
yeah, I
bad
did.
talk.
I got it.
Okay. So I don't know if anybody can read this. I'm recording again from the other room. But President Biden even stepped in and said that he thinks that Cuomo needs to resign uh, after he was accused of sexually harassing multiple women, as well as a bunch of others. There's even talks of an impeachment, wide-ranging impeachment investigation. And I've talked about this before with regards to Andrew Cuomo. But what I find interesting, though, is that Andrew Cuomo has had this is only a tip of the iceberg as far as a scandal. A big scandal that he had with what happened over the course of last year, where you had hundreds of people that died, elderly people that died in these clinics and in these nursing homes, where he refused to accept aid from President Donald Trump in regards to uh, COVID-19, COVID-19 medication, not just medication, but you're talking about breathalyzers and uh, hospital beds and so forth. He refused that. And they actually vindicated him in that, but now they want to get him on Me Too stuff, and everybody is more mad at the sexual assault or sexual harassment accusations than they are about this and what happened at the hospital. Seems like we're backwards, Bernard, with everything that's going on in this country.
Well, let me say something about that. Not only are you backwards, you got it really, really messed up because let me say something. Sexual harassment happens, I mean, on jobs. You know how sexual harassment cases don't go unreported? Really, to tell you the truth, Cuomo, to me, even if he gets impeached or resigned, I don't care. To me,
Right.
he ain't worthy of being a governor no way. But that's me. Right? But number two, the number one most important thing would be if my mom and dad died and he not your hanky panky that you had going on the side. What is sexual harassment? What are we talking about? Maybe you groped somebody, maybe you made a comment. So what type of sexual harassment are you talking about? I
I
know
mean,
what they say you did.
random. It's random stuff that they're saying from he groped someone to he tried to kiss somebody on the forehead. And he did a video earlier today where he responded to the report, but he has stated emphatically he has no intentions of resigning. And let me just say, as a general rule, everybody is presumed innocent until proven guilty. As a lawyer, that's something that I've been trained to believe in. It's something I personally believe in because I don't know enough of the facts of the case. Yes, you can have a sexual harassment, can be something that may be as innocent as touching someone on the back. Hey, how you doing? Or complimenting a woman on how she looks. That could be considered sexual harassment. It doesn't have to be intentional. Uh, in other words, in order to classify that, it just has to be something that person is uncomfortable with. They feel if that person feels it's a pass against them or in a sexual nature, they can file a complaint about it. And so you see all of this stuff going on here. They want him to resign. Personally, I could care less either way. I didn't like. Now, let's go back to this. I'm going back now to the screen. CNN's Chris Cuomo ignores investigation into his brother. Well, I can understand why he would ignore the investigation because he can't comment on somebody that he's close with. It would be biased. But let's not forget that when Chris Cuomo had on Jennifer Projon talking about Bill Cosby and basically tried to make like Bill Cosby's conviction was a technicality. And this is a lawyer.
Yep.
This is a lawyer that should know better in terms of what's true and false and the presumption of innocence. He should know that when a defendant's conviction is overturned, that their presumption of innocence is restored. It's restored solid as a rock. No, they didn't decide a verdict as to Cosby's guilt like a jury would, but if they found procedural errors that were significant enough to overturn a conviction, they said flat out, this trial should not have happened. So his presumption of innocence is restored, period. Now, he comes off looking like a hypocrite. Yeah, I think Chris Cuomo either he should do. Frankly, I don't know who watches this show, but I think he should go back on the streets as a reporter, or he should resign. I think that the governor at this point he should resign. Although I don't think he should resign over that. I think it's merely that scandal that went on with nursing homes that should have been significant enough. But Bernard, you had something else you
I'm
wanted to
looking.
say about that?
Yeah, and I'm looking at some stuff with Cuomo right here. Okay. We gotta understand something. See, this is the problem with these. I'm gonna call it straight out. They're tyrants, right? Rules for me, but not for thee. You know what I'm saying, right? So I don't understand what. all this stuff with Cuomo. I mean, don't get me wrong, Cuomo is just like this government I got here, Ralph Northam, puts on blackface, doesn't resign, and then you got Al Sharpton and all the band. They basically
Well, that
come and do a
particular
little
didn't
public.
resign.
Hmm?
He didn't resign. The governor of, you talk
No,
about
no,
what happened in Virginia. He didn't.
no,
No,
he
he
didn't.
stayed on.
So yeah, and I don't think Cuomo's gonna do it, resign either. He might, he probably will. I don't know, but we'll see. But Gayle King said something one time. No. Gayle King didn't say something. She was told. She said that if you stop talking about it, it will go away. Now, which is mighty funny because I thought they were going to try to try to deflect what happened at the Pentagon, but they still talk about Cuomo. I think they try to use that as deflection to get off Cuomo, but they stayed on him. But they had that little thing happen in the Pentagon, so I thought that they were going to use that to deflect. But if Gayle King said if you stop talking about it, when the crime situation was going on, if you stop talking about it long enough, it'll go away. The people about it. So I don't know how long will the people raise Cain about Cuomo not resign until they come with the next issue. That's what I want to see.
No, and they didn't talk about that shooting. That's a good point because that shooting that took place inside the Pentagon, where I believe they killed someone. And I think what it was that person stabbed somebody, killed them, and then the police killed them. As a result of that, and the Pentagon was on lockdown. How does somebody get in with a weapon uh, in the most secure places, not only in the United States but in the world?
Well, I don't
No, and
know.
I don't
And you
hear
know
too
what I'm
much.
saying?
You're not hearing too much about it.
Hey, look,
It's not the first. It's not
I
the
watched
first
that.
time that it happened. It's not the first time it happened.
Hey
It
man,
happened in 2010.
you know what I say? I laugh at it because I watched that same sack hearing with them stupid officers up there in the Capitol last week, right? And I'm just saying now. So we just had an officer that said they couldn't protect the Capitol, but this guy got shot at the Pentagon or stabbed or whatever happened, right? And you're telling me you can come on, give me a break. These are grounds where you don't even come on. So I'm just saying, man, it's just lunacy, man. But I thought they used that to deflect on Cuomo, but they kept going on Cuomo. That's my point about it.
Well, Cuomo, I remember this too. Cuomo, and it even came out in the report that he was also assisting his brother in terms of how to respond to these allegations. He served as an advisor, according to New York the report by the Attorney General uh, Lita Latita James.
James.
Yeah, and it says here he sought advice from the Times Up leader. A lot of these people are getting are being seen as hypocrites, which they are, because when it's the Democrats who are really responsible, the liberals that are responsible for your Me Too and Times Up, when their own is accused of it, you don't see the same type of outrage like you saw earlier when you saw conservatives being accused of it. Not that I'm excusing the conservatives, but you see how people stick together.
Mm. Donald Trump told you the Democrats stick together through thick and thin.
Yeah. But yeah, y'all look at that. And this was just one thing that came up. I'm sure we're going to hear more about it because when Sean comes on Thursday, I want to talk to him about it as well. But that's from the Hollywood Reporter. Like I said, Cuomo has no intentions of resigning. So, they may do an impeachment with him in the New York uh, Assembly. That might be something that may happen. But like Sean and I pointed out, nobody said anything about these nursing home debts.
I guess it's not
Nobody's
important.
nobody's nobody's been upset about that, but they're upset about somebody getting their butt hit. Not to say that that's not bad in and of itself, that sexual harassment isn't wrong. It is, but nobody's complaining about this. So,
Hey man, who who who
and
um who's zooming who?
right. But then we got another thing that's going on in New York, and we got to be careful with our language, and even with I'm going to show something I'm going to show everybody. But a mandate that was put in place by the mayor, uh, basically, if you're entering into any establishment inside, whether it's an entertainment complex, so you're talking about comedy clubs, you're talking about restaurants, you're talking about the gym, anything where you're inside. He has announced a new policy this Tuesday that is to go into effect on September 13th, that you have to show your papers, and said that failure to do so would cause those businesses to be fined.
Hmm. Doesn't that sound like fascism?
It sounds like Germany.
yeah, exactly. Because I'm gonna send this to you messenger, right? And I'm gonna let you pull it up, and you be the judge of it, okay? Because when I saw this, I said, "Whoa, they are really, really going overstepping their boundaries." Okay,
Well, here's the
I just
thing.
sent it.
Private, I'll take a look at it. Private businesses can do whatever they want in terms of allowing who they want to serve. You know, there used to be signs like we have the right to refuse service and so forth. So they have that right from a business perspective. However, it may not be the smartest business move because it may alienate a lot of people who are still uncomfortable with taking this vaccine. So, in the long run, what I'm seeing that's going on here, what I'm seeing that's going on in the White House across this country, they are, and I'm being careful with my words because I don't want to look like I'm inciting violence. I'm not. But when they are doing stuff like this,
I got you.
what what eventually may happen, you may have, and your actions may lead to another second civil war, possibly. I'm not saying it's happening,
Yeah.
but there are people who, let's be real, they're not comfortable with this, and you can only push people so far about certain things where they say no, that's enough. No, I don't want to do that. You know, where you keep doing it, you keep poking the rattlesnake, you're gonna get bit. People are,
Well,
you
look,
know, people are not gonna keep tolerating that.
you're right.
Same, it's the same thing with the alphabet crowd. I'm seeing a lot of people push. Some people are pushing back on it now. I think a couple people have pushed back on it. Some who are publicly known, but one person that I know that spoke out against it, he's a rapper. He has already stated that he would not back down from what he was saying. Now, the rapper he was supporting, he went and apologized, and that seems like the main thing every black man does when they get in front of a crowd and they say the wrong thing or
Buck
don't say
breaking.
what's popular.
Buck
They
breaking.
buck breaking, but it's always to see a black man on his knees. So, but a lot of people are pushing back at it now. Some are not. Back then, some people wouldn't push back on it. You got the rights to do whatever you want to do in your bedroom, in your house. That's your business. But I got rights too. But the Washington
Answer
Act
this question
is
in tack away.
unconstitutional. It's not. It's not necessarily see, you got to be very careful, especially people who don't know the law, because even with the Civil Rights Act of 1964, which does protect people from discrimination, the question is that whether or not this is a specific protected class. Is the unvax is the are those who have gotten a jab a protect or and those who have not gotten a jab part of a protected class. You know, when the Civil Rights Act of 64 was passed, that was specifically for black people. Lyndon Johnson said this. It's has become something else now because they changed the language in it. So now you have gender. Not remember in the 70s it became about Title VII, where you had to allow women to have the same equal amount of money in colleges and campuses across college campuses across the country, same amount of equal time in sports as the boys. The girls get equal time. Same thing with then they added the handicap, and then you added as of recently the LGBTQ, the alphabet community. So all of that gets added in, and you ask the question then at that point, well, if we, I don't know if anything that says that you have to be vaccinated or excuse me, jab or jabless as a protected class. So that's stuff that's something, yeah, people will challenge and may challenge in court. But the courts in different cities have already stated that employers can mandate that, and there is no law, to my knowledge, that prohibits them from mandating a vaccine. There is none. I mean, even when you're in schools on college campuses, they've asked you if you've had tetanus shots, if you've had polio shots and smallpox and so forth. They did that back when I was in school, and those were mandated because they tried to avoid an outbreak with kids. They did mandate that. These jabs, I have to be a jab. They have not essentially been mandated in schools as of yet, although some individual college campuses in different states they are mandating it.
Let me bring a point here about this right here. Inoculation jabs, whatever. And yes, Lamika Cardenas, I have heard about what's going on in Australia, where they got basically telling them that if you can't come out the house, or they're gonna pick you up, and fine you if they find you in an area that's supposed to be basically like a police state. Yeah,
Yeah, I've heard it.
but
And you know what Australia did in the 90s, right?
hmm?
You know what happened in 96 in
What in
Australia?
Australia?
Yeah, they got rid of the
They took their
guns.
gun.
Right.
They took their gun. That's
They
right.
took,
They took their guns. That's
they
right.
took their guns.
Yeah.
And they had a rise
Hey,
in they had a rise, and right after they did that, they had a rise in break-ins and burglaries. The Australian legislatures, they had trouble. The police had trouble arresting these individuals because the legislature had, when they make the laws, I don't believe there was a law in there that defined burglary. So people could walk into someone else's home and do whatever the hell they want, and they were going to be released back on the streets because there was no law. Now, a mandate is
hey.
not
Well,
a
let me say.
law, but it does have the effect of laws because when a governor signs an executive order, it still has the effect of law, just like a president signing an executive order. Biden is the chief executive officer. President Biden is the chief executive officer of the United States. He controls the executive branch. The governor controls the executive branch of a state.
Yeah, okay. Now, let me say something here about you know this thing right here.
Be careful what you say too.
No, it's not about that. It's more like this.
Okay.
Government cannot. Okay, this is the thing. See, the government is showing really they don't have power. Okay, because really, like you said, private business can do that, right? The problem is the government is telling private business to do that. The private business does not have to necessarily comply. That's the thing. Now, some of these private businesses have contracts with the government. That's why they want to do that. But in reality, the private business can say, hell no, you just had a guy come on Cuomo's show and tell him, I don't want the vaccinated coming. You get in my business if you're unvaccinated. So really to tell you the government is colluding with businesses to do this, which really to tell you the truth, to me, where the problem comes in. Because yes, if you want to manage, but then again, they don't tell you any alternative. You have exemption forms where you can use that they would tell you you have to do weekly testing, but you do have exemption forms for religious reasons. As a matter of fact, I was at the gym today and a guy asked me about it. And I said, well, why would I do that? I have exemption forms for religious reasons, personal reasons, and the like. Why would I do that? And he was like, okay. He said, by you saying that you have religious exemptions, I can't mess with you. But if you was anybody else that didn't have that, I would wonder why you didn't take it. That's what he told me in the gym.
Yeah, well, the thing is, the First Amendment, when we talk about freedom of religion, that means a person, that doesn't mean a specific organized religion. That means your belief is reasonable. It doesn't have to be whether you have to belong to the Nation of Islam or the Catholic Church or, the Southern Christian Leadership Conference. I'm saying the wrong thing, but if you're Baptist, if you're Jehovah's Witness, whatever, as long as you have a reasonably held belief, the courts have acknowledged that that's enough for freedom of religion. Now, just because you don't believe in God or the 10 Commandments, that doesn't mean you have a right to commit murder either. I don't believe in God. I don't believe in the 10 Commandments. That doesn't give you the right to commit adultery. That's not a right. That's not a right. You don't have a civil right to lie under oath. That's called
perjury. You're right.
Right. But the reason why, and the reason why you have, and I'll just say this, the 10 Commandments, why God created it was because if you look at it from two reasons. Number one, the commandments deal with our relationship with God. The first three commandments about who God is, how you should worship, what his name is, and when we should worship. The others deal with our relationship with each other, the creation of the family unit. Honor thy father and mother so that your lives will be longer in the land in which the Lord God has given you. Not committing adultery, the sanctity of marriage, not coveting your neighbor's wife. Those things. You shouldn't steal. You shouldn't murder. Things of that nature. That's why you shouldn't lie under oath. There's a reason we have that. And some of that is reflected in our laws, obviously. And the other reason why we have it is because if you have no laws, Bernard, then you will not have order. If you said you didn't believe in the 10 Commandments, and let's say the 10 Commandments was only laws in the country that we could follow, well, people would be doing whatever they want. If we didn't have the Constitution, if we didn't have criminal laws, people still break the laws. It doesn't matter. They'll still find a way to break them, but we have them as a sense of morality and purpose because more and more people would probably be doing it.
Yep. But I understand. I just look at it like, now on the other hand, now I'm gonna tell you, like you said, San Primitive, I'm gonna tell you something else. Fine, you say I can't come, I just don't come. Lose your damn business. Don't worry about it, because that just means you're gonna do that. You're gonna have a certain amount of people that's not gonna come. And I've already said, hey, I don't gotta come. People gotta face the fact. I ain't gotta come to your game. I don't gotta do nothing. Gavin, we've always talked about. Like you got the spice company or spice business and whatever, right? All right, Gavin, got your spice business. Bernard, you open up your own gym. We support each other. That's why we don't have to rely on these daggone tyrants trying to tell you what to do. Right. That's part of the deal.
clear. And let me be, and I'm not even an anti-vaxxer. And you and I have talked about that. I do not say that I don't believe in the principle that all vaccines necessarily are bad, but I do believe that people should have the right to make whatever decisions they want with their body. I think people should do research into looking at stuff. That's
My
the
body,
main
my
thing.
choice. What happened?
Yeah. Well, that only applies for certain things because it's the far left that's pushing this, but apparently if it's abortion, then it's their body, their choice, but not for a vaccine. So or
That's my
medicine.
point. Right?
Yeah.
Oh, you got the right to choose. I'm sexually liberated. No, hey, women's rights and all that. Speaking of that, before we get out of here, I forgot to tell you about the women's rights thing. It's going crazy, man. The NCAA is now saying they want to have the Final Four, men and women, being the same in the men have not been inclusive with their gender equity concerns. They haven't fulfilled their gender equity
I don't
observations.
understand. They
So and
want
I just
so wait,
yeah.
they want the women's final four. They're not talking about men competing against the women in the final four, are they? That's not what they mean.
I don't think I saw that, but I know they wanted it to be in the same, stadium because they had the Final Four in different areas. You know how they do. They have it like the women's Final Four in a different area than men. They're saying that the women, I guess they're saying that it's not equity. But
Nobody
my
would
thing
go
is,
to it. Nobody would go to
that's
it. It's the same thing as the
but
WNBA. Nobody watches it. The reason
that's what
why
I'm saying, man.
the women make less money than the men is because they don't have the sponsors.
Well, hey man, I'm just telling you how they trying to play it, man. I mean, this in the gender equity. Here they go again. But they trying to drive this thing up. I mean, no disrespect to the women in the Olympics, but if you realize that's a script they've been running. Now they're bringing out the transgenders now in the Olympics now. See, they slowly pushing it in. They just pushing it in, pushing it in. And look, I'm like this, man. I ain't even mad with the baby no more. But Dad, gonna please stop kowtowing and
Well,
apologizing, please, man. You look like
yeah,
a buck breaking fool. Damn.
right. I agree. Well, since you mentioned the Olympics, I want to get to the next topic. Queen Simone Biles returned to the Olympics to win the bronze medal in the high beam. She did that earlier this. Well, we're in the United States here. She did that earlier this morning, which would have been which would have been this evening today, since they're in Japan, and it's come out that recently, even after she found out that she won the bronze medal, that her aunt had passed away during the Tokyo Olympics. Says here that following her triumphant comeback Tuesday, four-time Olympic champion Simone Biles revealed that her aunt died just 2 days prior to competing in the balance beam event. Biles, who's 24, withdrew from four individual finals, all around vault floor, and uneven bars last week, citing mental health concerns and the twisties, a condition when gymnasts lose their sense of awareness in the air. Biles coach Cant- Cecil Cantiquote Londi opened up to reporters Tuesday about what Biles had been going through the Tokyo Games, including her aunt's unexpected death. Conquitolande, excuse me, that's French. Conquito. So that's Simone on the balance beam right there. I saw it earlier today when it aired, and she's been going through a lot. They have people. The judges have not been fair with her, and I'll say this: judges have not been fair with her in terms of the judging. Because they talked about deducting points from her just because she was so good, and they couldn't judge her on the same level and skills as the other gymnasts. Of course, people were upset, calling her a quitter, making I would call it. You had racists on here, white supremacists talking about her, and yeah, even I was a little critical of it because, and I'll say this: when you're out there as an artist, as a gymnast, and she even called herself the goat because she was wearing and showing off her leotard with the goat, and it felt like she was just giving, you make a mistake and now you're quitting. But on the flip side of it, maybe this aunt's death or illness, and I don't know if she died unexpectedly. She probably was sick. That could have had an impact on her. That happens. The other aspect too is that Simone was one of the last. She is the last gymnast on that team, that USA team, that was sexually assaulted by Dr. Larry Nasser. And something I noticed about the Olympics too, and I think it was Dwan D that brought this up. Shout out to Dwan, or it might have been Tariq, whoever it was. But where were all of these parents when that stuff was going on? I wonder about that.
Well,
Where were they? Were they pimping their kids out? Because I remember when the Carolis ran the Olympics, the gymnastics portion of the Olympics, and I remember they were talking about. I remember the '96 Olympics when Kerry Strug was on the vault. They needed her to clinch gold, and Bella Caroli, the Romanian, he's like, you can do it, you can do it. That's where that comes from. If you watch The Water Boy, that catchphrase, you can do it, that comes from that. You can do it, Kerry. And they used that to attack her because she did it on a broken ankle. This image, let me share it with y'all. I remember this vividly. They pushed these girls through a lot. And let me just share this picture right here. If y'all remember this, I was 10 when this happened. You can do it, Kerry. And that gymnast team in '96, I love Dominique Dawes. Whew. Flawless Dawes, that was her nickname. The Magnificent Seven. Yeah, that was the name of the group, the Magnificent Seven. And Dominique Dawes was a part of that. So, yeah, but you were about to say something, but yeah, I remember this. I remember when that bomb went off too. In the wee hours of
well, I'm glad she returned. But my thing is with this Olympics, and it's getting me. They're more concerned right now on shock value because I mean, just one this out there. Kudos to her for coming back or whatever. But does anybody realize how far the Olympic ratings are down, and they're talking about actually having to be back to advertise because they're not getting the revenue they thought they were going to get?
Yes, I've seen that.
So
They had the lowest return, the lowest viewership in over 33 years.
okay, notice a pattern. Oscars down, Golden Globes down, everything is down. Yeah, they're trying to hype these things up. These things popularity have declined so bad now that you just can't you can't hype it up anymore. I mean, it's first of all it's in Japan, right? Then they already told you couldn't protest, so that's another thing, right? So my thing is the events that we used to watch and adore. People realize that hey, I can do without this stuff. Now it could be some of that COVID last year shutdown, but also let's just be honest. People getting tired of the wokeism, man. That's what it is. Go get woke, go broke. That's all it is, man. That's the only way I can make it better for you. Because, like I said, with her, I look at it like yes, she, they got on her, which they should. I don't think they should have got on her. But my thing is, they got to do anything to get shocked by you, to try to get you interested in the Olympics. But guess what? It don't work because people are just not watching. I mean, it is what it is. But and I had a friend of mine talk to me the other day, and he made a point. He said, "BJ, why don't we boycott BET?" I said, "Explain your reasons." He said, "It's not black owned." I said, "Yeah, you're right." I told him, "But check this out. I don't watch BET anyway." So he said, "Yeah." He said, "People need to start taking it out of their cable subscription." I told him, they're good playing, man. I can see what you're talking about. He said, "What you say and what people say is better than anything you hear on a news program anyway, right? So we should be boycotting people and try to say, I want Rashad you know, on our subscription package. I want Keith and so forth and like anybody. I'm just throwing it out there. But he was just saying
Well,
what these people saying are not really that important. That's what he was trying to say.
right. Well, the thing is that when you look at when you got money, man, you can do whatever you want. And these people, there's families that owns BET, which is the Redstone family. I've talked about them before. Viacom, CBS. You saw how powerful they were when you had someone like Nick Cannon, who supposedly owned Wild and Out, but found out he didn't own Wild and Out, and they basically dragged him by his tail, and he had to go and apologize for having Professor Griff on, for saying stuff that I'm still trying to figure out what he said. Uh, so that was the Redstone family. That family, the Redstone family, is worth billions of dollars. Their father, who just died last year, Summer Redstone. I mean, his family was responsible for creating and owning some movie theaters across the country. Hold on a second. That's all right. It's no problem. I'm sorry, I had to answer that. That's my little cousins. So yeah, no, but I was saying the Redstone family. I mean, they're multi-billionaires,
Oh, it's all
and
good, man.
when you have money, but when you have money,
I thought
man,
it was girlfriend, so I got
nah, nah, I saw her earlier. No, when you look at like when we're talking about the baby, you know, I think it was O'Shea Duke Jackson who talked about this, and he even mentioned, when you have money, you can do what you want. So those guys, even if this is true what they're saying, he recommended that they keep their mouth shut till they get the bag, because you see they're canceling him on all of these different festivals that he's was a part of. Honestly, I've never listened to a song that he's made. I don't care. I don't care for mumble rappers, but he was very popular. I know he did something at the Grammys, if I'm not mistaken. Uh,
he was also in the White House with Clarence.
he was, and I
Yeah, he said
listened to
in the picture with him.
right. I listened to what he said, and I understood. I'm trying to be careful. I understood from my listening to what he said. He didn't mention a particular sexual orientation. He just mentioned HIV or AIDS, and it was associated with them, so they got upset about it. But so what we're talking about with cancel culture and so forth with the Olympics, people's ratings are going down because they're tired of having it shoved down their throat.
You know something about what he said, Gavin, that got me with the whole thing when he said
What's that?
he didn't say nothing, but the people that came for him was even people that he was on a song. One of them was on a song with him. You know, Elton John, even this Chris Brown, who's down here, he grew up an hour from me, out in Tappahannock, Virginia, came out and said something. I'm like, okay, see, you gotta understand something. This
Well, Madonna
alphabet
even said
mafia,
something.
man, forget her. She had me. But the alphabet boys, the mafia, I'm call them mafia actually. What's up, Rio BT?
Brother
Okay.
Ryan Hurd, what's the word? Brother, wait, before you go on, Bernard, Ron had a very interesting conversation with the elder Bill Cosby. He got to
Yep, he
speak on the
did.
phone with him. So I listened
Congratulations,
to his,
Ron.
yeah. Oh, I
Hey,
have
Ron,
not
come
talked.
on back down to Mama J's and get some of that chicken, man. I got you. Oh, man. Come on back to Richmond and get some more chicken, man. I got you, man. It's all good. But look, all jokes aside, though,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, they piled on him, you know, and then boosting them to defend him. But the thing with the baby, I mean, it's it's more like, um, you know, it happens, but we got to understand why it's happening. And when you keep on kowtowing right now, young sister Lauren, I think it was Lauren, who's been on the Judge Show before, made a point. I think, did she say that these rappers don't have money, they only have advances? So they might don't have all the money, they might just be having advances, but they ain't got no money. They in the future.
Right. Well, that does happen based off their contract. I was just saying earlier, the top songwriters in the world actually they don't get paid. Some of them have not gotten paid from their record companies. They're driving Uber and Lyft. This was out and reported by the BBC. The money that you make and so forth, the people that make the money are the ones who either publish the music or they do the sync licensing, the copyright holder. That's where you get the money. The mechanical royalties is where you get the monies from all of that. But Ron said the reason why the ratings are down is people have more options in terms of bread and circuses. Yeah, that's kind of true too. I think people are just, but I do think this go woke, go broke. Now, actually, I'm looking right now on the TV. I got the TV on in my room while I'm talking to you, and Simone Biles is actually being interviewed by Mike Tirico. So let me hear what she has. Hold on. Let me hear what she's got to say.
Talk to a sports psychologist that Team USA has here. So once we were kind of in the mindset, they would ask me every day how I'm doing, how I'm feeling, and all of that stuff. And then like when the all around came, I was like, absolutely not. Like I don't feel comfortable or safe going out there doing 4 events. And then we got to vault, and I was like, again, no. Bars and beam were the two that I was like, okay, I feel like I could do it. And then practicing bars, I still got lost in the air before I came down, kind of crashed. And so we're like, it's not the best idea to do that. Floor was next, not happening because that's where I twist the most on all of my passes. And then beam, I do usually twist in my beam dismount, but I downgraded it. And so I asked Cecile if we could try a downgraded dismount that I probably haven't done since I was 12 or 13.
And we've heard about the twisties, and we've heard about that.
You can hear that?
When did this first start coming up? Was it when you arrived here in Tokyo?
No, I actually didn't have a problem with that at all. I competed. We did podium training, was perfect. We did prelims, which was really good. Qualified into everything. And then after prelims, we went into practice the next morning. And then that's when it started happening, just completely random. I went to do a floor pass, and I just got lost in the air. And I was like, okay, it was a fluke. Didn't do any more.
I honestly think somebody called her the N-word. That's my initial thinking.
Really weird.
because she was talking about how I'm just dealing with some stuff internally. That we're dealing with stuff internally. It's like we.
So then, as the team competition's going on, and you stop competing, and you sit there and you read the rest of your teammates on, how'd you feel as you were watching them? Because there had to be a million thoughts going through your head as you're trying to say, "Come on," to your teammates as well.
Well, I knew they could do the job, and that's exactly what I told them. As soon as I told them, and they found out that I was pulling out for the rest of the competition, I was like, "You guys are trained for this. You're going to be just fine without me. Like, go out there, do your gymnastics, and have fun. I'll be here cheering you on if you need anything."
Larry Nasser, yeah.
It was hard to watch from the side.
I started thinking about that too. That might be PTSD, but some people say that was a silent protest.
Conversation about mental health is something that is very real and has come to the forefront with Naomi Osaka. Michael Phelps was here a lot while you were going through this, and he shared what he had been through. Can you share with us the loneliness of being expected to win and hearing that you're the GOAT all the time, but still having to go out and prove it time after time after time? How hard is that?
I feel like it's hard, but it's harder being a female athlete because, everybody prays for your downfall and wants you to mess up and all of that stuff. And I don't think they take in consideration of our mental health because what we do isn't easy or else everybody could do it. But also at the end of the day, we're not just athletes or entertainment. We're human too. And we have emotions and feelings and things that we're working through behind the scenes that we don't tell you guys about. And so I just think it's something that people should be more aware of.
You even said to Hoda Kotb last week,
shut up and flip.
Being the face of the games, it was a lot.
Yeah, it was a lot, but I feel like that really didn't affect me. It was just like,
no, I'm just kidding, baby. I feel you. Yeah, she's the last of his victims. That's I think that's something too. She's struggling with that, and probably just doesn't want to talk about it.
But then whenever it's kind of being shoved down your throat, it's just like, so then if I have a bad practice, then the girls are off.
They were telling LeBron shut up and dribble. They wanted her to shut up and flip.
To continue on in hopes of seeing a changed culture.
Right.
No, she didn't say hard being a black woman. She said hard being a woman, a female gym athlete.
I definitely think we're on the right road. For a different path, and the next generations, you can already see it. They have some different rules in place for basically everything now. So we just have to keep them held responsible and just move on.
You were supposed to take home all these gold medals,
right?
But you're taking home silver and bronze. Given everything that happened, how do you feel about that?
I'm not mad at all. I'm very proud of the girls, all of them. I'm going home in one piece, which I was a little bit nervous about. So I'm not mad. It's not how I wanted it to go, but I think we've opened bigger doors and bigger conversations.
And do you want to continue to be part of those conversations?
I think so. I think it's helpful, especially having somebody that's gone through it and knows. And Michael has reached out as well because he's been through it. Naomi reached out as well. She's been through it. So
did they reach out in the last week or so?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's been really nice to have their support.
Who else has reached out that has really struck a chord with you?
Oprah.
Oh Lord.
People have reached out, like a lot of people. It's been insane.
No, don't.
And that's so good because in the beginning, I kind of felt embarrassed, like maybe this isn't what was supposed to happen. But then it was like, okay, well, I physically can't do it. Like I need to work on myself, and ended up being okay.
A lot has happened, and it's just a few hours after you competed. But if you just take a deep breath and think of what's happened since you got off the plane in Tokyo, and now you get ready to get back to the U.S., what do you take away from this experience?
Put your mental health first. It doesn't matter if you're on the biggest stage. That's more important than any other medal you could win.
A thank you to Simone Biles for her candor and her abilities. Sydney McLaughlin, the Little Muhammad, put on a show tonight.
I was with you till you said Oprah, Queen. Shut up and flip. Nah. Well, she said Oprah reached out to her. She didn't say she loved Oprah, I should say, or anything like that. But, you take help where you get it. But don't come by me. Don't come by Oprah. Come by us. Talk to New Black Media, Queen.
Wow.
But
Make you wonder.
Last thing I want to talk about, though, because I think we covered most of the topics. What's up, Felicia? I want to send a special. Y'all hit up Bernard's Cash App too. But I want to thank everybody because I've gotten, in particular, I don't know if she's listening, but a lot of my people, especially Jennifer Vickers, Dante Salters, Nicole from Nicole's View, if she's listening, because she tagged me earlier today and enjoyed my live stream that I did with brother Al Lanier. Shout out to Al, uh, Al Lanier, who's a journalist, veteran journalist we've had. I don't know if you saw Bernard, or you did watch our live stream on Sunday when we talked about celebrity death
Why some of y'all talking about the celebrity deaths? Yes. So
with well, it was on Ernest Cosby, who's the only son of legendary entertainer Bill Cosby and Camille Cosby, and we talked about his murder and the things that went on that took place in that trial, in that at that scene. A lot of people didn't know some of the information.
speaking
Even
of
me,
the
I'm like,
trolls view, how's she doing with these trolls?
how's she doing with trolls? Oh, she does fine. She's
Yeah,
got
remember
top.
you went on talking about the trolls. I know one day you talked about the trolls that that were after her about the what is it?
Oh, about Lil Nas. Yeah, she did fine.
Yeah,
She did fine.
yeah. And they can't be messing with the sisters on this because I've been talking to the sisters and I told them, look, we gotta stop these alphabet times for coming on. But they're gonna attack y'all too if y'all speak out. But they try to use y'all as a buffer shield. But when a sister finally speaks out and says that they're not with it, they're gonna attack the sister just like they would attack us and call us homophobic and the like. So that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Well, she did.
So I'm glad y'all were there to help her out.
Yeah, she did fine.
Okay, good.
She's been doing fine. She's been doing great. Shout out to her. And no, it was an interesting live stream because I'm reading it and I learned stuff that I didn't know about at that time. Like you're going back in detail over it. I remember when that happened, but I didn't remember going over specifics of it, like the woman with the fur coat, that she was related to Sarah Gilbert and Melissa Gilbert. You have never heard of her. She stayed out of the spotlight since this happened. And the whole circumstances of how he died was all mysterious because he told her basically, get out of, all the reports are get out of here, tell her to leave, which tells me that he had a direct intent to murder Enos Cosby. This wasn't something, in other words, this was not something that was random. Because if you're going to kill someone, if you're going to rob somebody, you wouldn't let the witness go. You would have robbed that person and you would have robbed the other person. And I remember when this stuff happened, Ron was even telling me that, and I went back and looked at this. A lot of people don't know this, but Bill Cosby and Dr. J in the 1980s had a Coca-Cola distribution plant that they were trying to create and put out in Philadelphia. They were actually the first, I think, to do that, first black men to do that in history. Earl Graves Sr. did it in Washington, D.C. with Pepsi. A lot of people don't know that aspect. Dr. J's son died mysteriously back in 2000. He drowned in a pot. Yeah. So, I look at that. I mean, I don't know if that means that there was a conspiracy against those men because of the money that they made. I wouldn't go that far because I don't have that evidence. But I know one thing: this was not a random robbery, and certainly the timing of it all that he was going through with trying to acquire NBC, and then his, uh, the girl who accused him of being her father, Autumn Jackson. All of that was around the same time. So 1997 was not a great year for Bill Cosby and his family, but I'm thankful everybody liked it. I love doing those, and I don't know if you had anything to say any more about that, Bernard.
Well, I always say you always put up good content and good programs with that guy Lanier for one thing. So that was pretty interesting. Probably I'm gonna have to go back and watch it from the beginning. But hey, when you put out these podcast stuff, you learn stuff and you find out information. I did send you a thing in the your messenger earlier, where it's called the uh, anonymous reporting system, where you're actually paying people cash prizes or something like that to report on their friends or family if they haven't had jabs. So I just was so what I'm just saying. You always learn information every day. Like I listen to you, I send you information. You gotta have network information because you're not gonna get it from the mainstream media. I mean, the fact that Bill
Right.
Cosby, talking to he's talking to Ron and the lady name, I think her name was Kira Dangerous. And shout out to her for
Yeah.
you and Ron.
Yes,
So
shout out to them, Bill Cosby. I haven't gotten my phone call from the doc yet. I would like to talk to you about the letter that you wrote in support of me during my times in the big house, because I love and support all the people who come out and support me. And
yeah.
but
Mm.
But no, I didn't write. I didn't get involved in that because I wanted anything out of it. I just wanted the truth to come out, and I thought that there needed to be due process, and that didn't happen with uh, Dr. Cosby. Uh, they let Jay Z be a billionaire, but not Dr. Cosby. I wonder why. Well, Dr. Cosby is I think the irritated genie, and I know he's got issues. I've heard issues about him, but he said something very interesting. His video has been taken down, but he said Bill Cosby was a pseudo activist, which I would say he was. Bill Cosby was an entertainer, but he was also an activist. He still is an activist, I should say, and an entertainer. He's not dead. And he used his platform and the monies that he acquired to not only influence the way people think of Black Americans in a positive light, but he used his monies to help continue to educate young Black people and also support issues in the Black community. When you're talking about giving carte blanche to the NAACP to use your name and image for their platform, when you're talking about giving over $100 billion to HBCUs, when you're talking about giving monies to Black directors who didn't have monies to finish their projects. Remember with Malcolm X, I don't know if you know this, Bernard, but Warner Brothers pulled the money from Spike Lee in the middle of production. In the middle of production, they pulled the funding. So Spike Lee had some trouble. In order to make the film, he needed some money. So who did he go to? He called Bill Cosby. And Bill Cosby in return, oh, you need this? Let me get Oprah on the phone. Let me get Michael Jordan on the phone. Let me get Magic Johnson, Janet Jackson. They all gave money to contribute. And Spike Lee talked greasy about him lately and saying how he stole a different world. That was an outright lie. I know that, and I wasn't even born then. Or I was a baby when that stuff was created, because in order to do that, I just know the time and effort takes money. Number one, you got to have your copyright. You got to do pre-production on who's going to be who designs the sets, where it's going to be set at. Cosby had been developing that before Spike Lee, and Spike Lee wasn't even that known when he made School Days.
Who gives a damn about Spike Lee, punk ass?
Yeah, well, I mean, Spike Lee, I was disappointed in Spike.
I fell out with Spike Lee after that Chirac movie.
I never saw it.
Good. You don't need to see it. Nick Cannon was in it too.
But I heard there was like a sex off or something like that.
It was kind of like
Everything was in rhyme.
if the men didn't stop the violence and shooting in the city of Chicago, then the women would go on a sex strike. That's how it was like that.
Yeah, and the whole movie was in rhyme, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, for the most part, yeah. I mean,
Yeah, he fought.
it was mockery. Man. But hey, Nick Cannon, they said never send a boy to do a man's job, and that's pretty much it because he was playing the gangster in that role. Nick Cannon played, they trying to get Nick Cannon to play the gangster.
Yeah,
It is what it is. But nevertheless, you know how it goes, man. We just gotta, like I said, we in we in for the battle of our lives. I was out early evening at an event where they had a national night out, and I saw some friends of mine and stuff like that. And like I said, you get to talking to people, and you realize that, hey, man, a lot of stuff right now is not going the way people think it's going. So I'm not saying it is gonna happen, but I will say it is something. It's a famine in the land, and something could go down at any time. Just like I told you about the flights, something really could go down very soon. Yes, Ron, black masculine is MIA in Hollywood. Man, Hollywood weird. It is getting kind of weird, actually. So, but Gavin, like I always say, I always love when come on. I always like to come on. I tried to get you last night, but I ain't telling lie. After all that flying I just knocked out, man. But I'm glad you brought me on tonight. So thank you once again. And I know on Thursday you and Sean James will pack the house and have another great show. I gotta get Sean James on my show, man. He brings a lot of good content. So gotta get him on one day.
most definitely. Yeah, I might even have on another guest. I'm gonna see, but it'll be a great show, great topic, and I can't wait for everybody to tune in. So, with that being said, Brother Bernard, thank you for tuning in and being a guest here tonight. I'm privileged to have you come on. I ask everybody to please donate to the Cash App at the bottom, Gavin Richard Esquire, Google Pay, PayPal, gavin.drich1@gmail.com, also Zelle. And Bernard, if you can tell everybody about your website, I will put you.
Well, yeah, well, on website, kingbjmedia.com, and I'm kingbjfitness.com. As a matter of fact, the lady that was there tonight, she asked me to possibly in a couple of weeks coming work out her kids that she has at her camp or something like that. So I think I got a basketball camp to do August 15th. Still working out stuff on that. So you can reach me at Bernard1120 on Instagram as well. And yeah. Also, I just want to say that also, Gavin, you say you was in the gym and stuff like that. So I'm glad. Hey, man, get punching bags ready. You might need it. Hey,
I need to go back to the
like
shooting
Monique, you
range.
see right here says protect masculinity. She's saying protect masculinity. That's the right word to say right there.
Ron
Hey,
is
man,
saying,
I come on your show and talk about that.
yeah, he talked about a little bit earlier, Ron.
I did,
saying,
man.
yeah, you saw the river. You were by the river walk and everything.
Yeah, I went to the
picture.
Riverwalk, and I rode to Austin, Texas. I saw the
Did you,
gentrification.
what did you get you something good to eat while by the river walk? The Mexican food and stuff that was there.
I didn't get anything by the Riverwalk, but I did go on a nice. I went on a nice walk Sunday and went to this place. It was called P. Terry's, and I walked in there and I said, "Do y'all have any veggie burgers?" They said, "Yeah." I looked around. I said, "Wait a minute, man. Am I the only black person in this place?" I said, "Yeah." I thought this was I said, "But there's all these Pakistanis." Now, I will say one thing about these Pakistanis down there, and I did realize this. I realized that you don't see many of them, but when you do, they got whole storefronts and businesses and shopping parts of a strip mall they got. And I wish that, we could do that. I did have one little problem at Tony G's, which was a soul food restaurant. Food was good service. I went there both days. But I did realize, though, this is a black-owned restaurant, but I had an Asian waitress serving me. I was like, I know one thing. That was kind of different because I said, oh, wait a minute. I know daggone at a Asian convenience store or Pakistani convenience store down here in Richmond. You ain't gonna see no black person working there hardly. Oh, by the way, let me tell you something that is going on down here in Richmond. I forgot to tell you this before I go. So in New Orleans, y'all got places where y'all gamble, like slots and stuff, right?
Yeah.
Down here, we got like stores would have like little gaming machines and stuff. You believe they're trying to make a casino here in Richmond in November or whatever, trying to get paperwork done for it. So they shut down a lot of the convenience stores machines, and so now the Asians are saying, well, wait, you hating on us because you shutting down the machines. A lot of black people going there playing like slots and stuff. Probably win about $300, $400 in the store, just sitting there gambling, just playing slots in little convenience stores. But I don't think they own the machines; they're renting them. And one of the Asian guys said that was how he paying his rent. So
yeah,
they're trying to go. They're trying to get some legislation passed. Back. What I'm telling you, that Stop Asian Hate thing is not just about no hate; it's also a rallying cry and an economic cry to get for big people for them that lost money. They basically want a reimbursement from state and local governments to help them with loss of funds. That's what I'm trying to tell you. And I said that's smart, but daggone, they would do that for them. I guarantee you, they won't. Matter of fact, a lot of our black leaders won't even campaign for nothing like that. Come to think about it. So daggone, that's another problem.
Right. Yeah, that it is.
Yeah. So, but I want y'all to also donate to Gavin. He's been putting out good content, and Gavin, like I always say, keep on putting it up. Stay strong for the brothers, man. Hey, look, man. After watching the baby, how he been apologizing so much. Hey, look, this is my last thing I'm gonna say. Hey, a gangster and killing and all that, right? The real gangsters is not that. Ain't about killing nobody. The real gangster ones make you bow down and tell you gotta apologize. They showing you who the gangsters is. That's how I look at that. Hey, you want to show you got punked? You got punked. But with that being said, I'll zoom out. But thanks for bringing me on again, brother.
All right, brother. No problem. No problem at all. I appreciate you coming on here talking to me, man. And shout out to everybody. This has been another great edition of Gavin Richard Presents here on channel GBoot2786 on Gavin Richard, my backup channel. And if you were watching on Periscope, Gavin Rich 2786. Check out the website, knowingthesecreoleblends.com. Yes, protect masculinity because it is under attack. Protect masculinity. I'd say uplift masculinity.
Protect womanhood and defend.
Thank you. Promoting
once again.
And protecting womanhood.
Manhood. Womanhood, yeah.
Well, Judge Joe says, promoting manhood and protecting manhood, I believe. Yeah.
All right. You take your time, bro.
As Judge Joe Brown would say, I'll see you later, counselor. You what did he say, Mark Hill? You little sissified punk. You see, I deal with judiciary evidence. You got nothing. This was nothing. What about these women being accountable? They sucked and fucked and dried. You go get your coat out of the bedroom, and they're on top of the bedroom doing somebody on your coat. You might as well left a semen stain on your coat, and you couldn't get it out because of these damn groupies. See, I've been to them parties and functions before. They had their tops and blouses off. I told this to Brother Ron Hurd 6 years ago. these groupies were running around trying to get laid, and now their face doesn't work because they didn't have enough money to get some Botox. Go on, you ain't making no comeback. As Mark Lamont here would say, but judge, but judge, it's sexual assault. But judge, it's not fair, judge. But judge, it's not sexual assault, judge. That's sexual assault, judge. Wow, I'm sorry for having him. Come on.
Yeah, funny, man.
You
take that, bro.
A judge would have been good as a drill sergeant. Can't hurt you little piss ants. I want you maggots to give me 20. Thank you, Miss Holly.
Yeah, we take time, brother.
He didn't say too much when I did my impression of him on the phone. I guess I don't know if he didn't like it, but yeah. All right. Have a good one, huh?
You too, brother.
All right, this has been another edition, guys. You know how we do this. We're going to have to get on out. Major Judge Payne, yeah. What are you laughing at, you little freckle-faced cartoon? All right, guys, you know how we do this. So as we leave, it's time to do what? It's time to get on up. I'll see you in the next one. I'll holla. Peace.
Girl, come on. Gotta dance to the beat. Cause on the dance floor is where we live. Show me what you got. Gotta feel the groove. Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on the. Right now the party's wasted. There's nothing much to do. But once the groove gets started, tell me, what do you have to lose? Just look into my eyes, girl, as we glide across the room. And what to my surprise now, the beat takes hold of you. Now if you're feeling like I'm feeling, so come on baby, let's start dealing. Time to get this party started. Ain't no time for the broken hearted. When the rhythm takes hold of you, there's only one thing left to do. Cause the beat is really moving. Time to get your body moving. Gotta get on up and move your body. Cause when the beat is really grooving, start to feel your body moving. Gotta get on up and shake something. Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on up. Tell the DJ play the whispers. Rock steady in the mood. Put on earth, wind, and fire. Tonight we're gonna groove. Show me how you do the four corners. Electric slide or two. Hit the bus stop or do the bunny hop, baby. It's really up to you. Now if you're feeling like I'm feeling, so come on baby, let's start dealing. Time to get this party started. Ain't no time for the broken hearted. When the rhythm takes hold of you, there's only one thing left to do. Cause the beat is really moving. Time to get your body moving. Gotta get on up and move your body. Cause when the beat is really grooving, it's time to feel your body moving. Gotta get on up and shake something. Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on up. Now, 2020 hasn't been the best year of all times. We've been dealing with death, the pandemic, racism, bad policing, and all the bad rhymes. But like Uncle Snoop once said, if you breathe and you achieve. And so, if you're ready, I need you all to get on up. Are you ready? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Get your butt on the dance floor. 5 and 6 and 7, 8. This jam we appreciate. We're gonna slide and step on the beat. On the dance floor is where we'll feel the groove. Get on the floor. Get on the
You really sis.
and move your body.
I
So
do
the
it
beat
every day.
is really grooving. Start to feel your body moving. Gotta get on up and shake something. Feel the groove. Get on the floor. Get on the floor. Yeah, gotta get on. Come on, baby, gotta get on. Baby, feel the groove. Get on the floor. Get on the.
Good night, you termites. Just remember, if you don't have any judiciary fortitude or evidence, then you can't say jack shit about nothing. Thank you, Judge Joe Brown. I really appreciate you going on and defending me against that little termite that I worked with over at Temple University, because it's so Mark Lamont here all the time. And, it was like, it was like with me and Sydney versus John Amos and the other light-skinned dude that played the general in Coming to America, Biggie Smalls. And we just could not deal with him because he was stupid. You see, Mark Lamont Hill, he's stupid. But I want to thank you anyway. Well, of course, Dr. Cosby, I appreciate it. These little termites don't know a damn thing. So you have a good night. Everybody else have a good night. Good night, Judge Joe, Your Honor. Good night, everyone. Judiciary.